Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a car that many of you probably remember from your driveway, from your parents, or maybe from the taxi stand. The Volkswagen Passat B6, built from 2005 to 2010. A car that perfectly represents practicality, comfort and German precision, but also one that split opinions because of its reliability issues. So sit back, grab a drink, and let's dive deep into the story of the Passat B6. Its engines, body types, strengths, weaknesses, driving feel, and what you should know if you're thinking of buying one today. When it launched in 2005, the Passat B6 had big shoes to fill. The B5 had been one of Volkswagen's best-selling cars worldwide, but with the B6, VW changed direction completely. It was no longer based on an Audi platform, but instead shared its DNA with the Golf 5, the PQ46 platform. That meant it got a different suspension layout, more modern electronics, and a focus on comfort and technology rather than raw driving feel. From the outside, the B6 looked clean and businesslike. Sharp lines, chrome accents, and that bold grille that many people either loved or hated. It was the era when VW wanted every car to look a bit like a mini Phaeton. And inside, it felt premium for its time. Soft materials, solid buttons, everything logically placed, and that typical VW scent of quality. Now let's talk about engines, because the B6 had a huge range. Starting with the petrol engines, the 1.6 FSI with 115 horsepower was the entry-level option. Economical, yes, but underpowered for such a heavy car. You really had to rev it hard, and when fully loaded, it struggled on the highway. It also had issues with the high-pressure fuel system and carbon build-up on valves, something early FSI engines suffered from a lot. Then there was the 1.6 MPI, the simpler 102 horsepower engine with port injection. Slower but much more reliable and easy to maintain. No fancy electronics, just a basic, tough engine. If you wanted a city cruiser that never complains, this was it. The 2.0 FSI with 150 horsepower was a nice middle ground. Smoother, more power, decent fuel economy. But again, FSI problems like carbon deposits and sensitive sensors showed up over time. Then came the real star of the petrol lineup, the 2.0 TFSI with 200 horsepower. Same engine as in the Golf GTI and Audi A4. Quick, responsive, and surprisingly efficient for its power. But, like most TFSI engines of that era, oil consumption could be high and timing chain noise was common if the car wasn't serviced properly. And for the enthusiasts, the 3.2 V6 FSI and the R36 3.6 V6 were the top options. The 3.2 had 250 horsepower, silky smooth but thirsty. The R36 pushed it to 300 horsepower, 4-motion all-wheel drive and DSG, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 5.6 seconds. A true sleeper, quiet, comfortable, but brutally fast when you wanted it to be. Now to the diesel engines, which made up the majority of Passat B6 sales. The 1.9 TDI with 105 horsepower, the old faithful. Slow but nearly indestructible. It could easily cross 400,000 kilometers if serviced properly. The biggest issues were clogged EGR valves and, on later models, diesel particulate filter problems if driven only on short trips. Then came the 2.0 TDI, offered with 136, 140 and 170 horsepower. The early versions used pump-reduce injectors, and those engines developed cracked cylinder heads, failing oil pumps and leaking injectors. Many mechanics remember those engines very well, often with frustration. Around 2008, VW switched to the common rail version, which was smoother, quieter, and far more reliable. If you're buying one today, go for that newer 2.0 TDI. It's night and day. At the top of the range sat the V6 TDI, first a 2.5, later a 3.0 litre with 224 horsepower and plenty of torque. It was powerful, refined and effortless on the highway. Transmission choices were broad too. You had 5- and 6-speed manuals, a conventional 6-speed automatic and the DSG dual-clutch gearbox. The DSG was fast and smooth when working properly. Instant gear changes, great response but also expensive when it broke. Mechatronic failures and clutch wear were the most common problems. The key was regular oil changes every 10,000 kilometers, something many owners skipped. In terms of body styles, there were two: the sedan and the variant, wagon. The variant was by far the favourite. Huge cargo space, almost 1,700 litres with seats folded. It was the family car of the mid-2000s, ideal for road trips, holidays, or work. With the optional 4-motion system, it became a capable all-weather car. The sedan looked cleaner and a bit more elegant, especially with chrome trim, but it lacked the practicality of the wagon. Inside, the B6 really showed Volkswagen's attention to detail. Even base models had a solid German feel. Higher trims added wood or aluminum accents, leather seats, dual-zone climate control, and soft-touch plastics almost everywhere. The driving position was excellent. You felt like you were in control of a solid machine. But with all that technology came problems. The electronic parking brake was infamous. One small sensor failure, and suddenly you couldn't move the car. The comfort control module under the carpet could short out if water entered the cabin. And that wasn't rare, since the drainage channels under the windshield often clogged. Door locks, windows, and central locking systems were also weak spots. Sometimes the car just decided not to open. Typical B6 quirk. Let's talk driving experience. The Passat B6 wasn't sporty, but it was stable, comfortable, and precise. On the highway, it felt rock solid at 160 km/h, like it was built for the Autobahn. Steering was light but accurate, suspension was soft but well controlled, especially on the 16-inch wheels. If you had the sport suspension or larger 18-inch alloys, it got noticeably firmer. Road noise was low, the cabin was quiet, and long drives were effortless. That's where the Passat shined. Not as an exciting driver's car, but as the perfect long-distance cruiser. Owners often praised how well the car aged. Even after 10 years, the interior still felt solid. No rattles, no squeaks as long as it hadn't been abused. But suspension parts like control arm bushings and sway bar links wore out fast and caused annoying clunks at low speeds. In terms of safety, the Passat B6 scored high marks. It came with ABS, ESP, multiple airbags, and strong crash test results. Optional features included adaptive cruise control, lane assist warning, and xenon headlights with dynamic cornering. In 2005, that was high-tech stuff. You didn't see those options in many mid-range sedans yet. Now, let's talk about ownership and running costs, because this is where many people form their opinions. Maintenance on a B6 can be reasonable, as long as you stay away from neglected cars. The parts are easy to find, and plenty of independent mechanics know these engines inside out. But if you buy a car with poor service history, you can quickly spend thousands. For example, a DSG repair can cost over $2,000, a DPF replacement around $1,500, and fixing water damage to the comfort module up to $1,000. On the other hand, a well-maintained B6 can run reliably for years with only basic servicing. Fuel economy was solid too. 1.9 TDI around 5 litres per 100 kilometres, 2.0 TDI around 6 litres per 100 kilometres, 2.0 TFSI 8 to 9 litres per 100 kilometres, V6 11 to 13 litres per 100 kilometres. Let's not forget the Passat CC, which was basically the B6 in a more elegant suit. Launched in 2008, it brought coupe-like styling and a touch of luxury. Same engines, same platform, but a totally different vibe. It's aged beautifully and is still one of VW's best-looking cars ever made. Looking back, the Passat B6 was a turning point for Volkswagen. It introduced modern design and technology, but also brought a wave of complexity that the brand was still learning to manage. Some people remember it as a masterpiece of comfort and space, others as the car that lived in the workshop. Both are true. It depends entirely on the version you got and how well it was maintained. Still, when you drive a well-kept B6 today, you can feel why it was such a success. It's quiet, balanced, and feels like a proper German sedan. And for just a few $1,000s, you can still get a comfortable daily driver that feels more premium than many newer budget cars. So, in the end, the Passat B6 is a car of contrasts. Brilliant in comfort, frustrating in reliability, spacious and practical, yet elegant and powerful when you choose the right engine. It's the kind of car that makes you shake your head one week and smile the next. If you find a good one, well maintained, with service records and ideally a common rail diesel or the 2.0 TFSI, it's still absolutely worth it. And if you ever find that R36, buy it before prices go up again, because it's already becoming a legend. So what do you think? Would you still buy a Passat B6 today? Which engine did you have and what was your experience with it? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more in-depth car reviews, and as always, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.